Red Wave. Welcome to Beware Bulldogs podcast. We're your hosts, Caleb and Caleb. It's easy. You can remember it. Both with a C. We call ourselves the C&C Fresno State Football Factory. We got a great show for you today. We're previewing Fresno State versus Sacramento State. The Hornets are coming to town this Saturday. I'm excited, Caleb. I don't know about you, but the game against Michigan is in the past. We had a good day at practice today. We are recording on Monday, just so everyone knows. Great day at practice, and the boys are getting after it. I have high expectations for the rest of this season, Caleb. How you feeling, man?
I'm glad the last week's behind us, and we can move on to, I guess, the bulk, the regular schedule. And looking forward to getting victory number one. I should have looked it up before, but I was curious, how often does Fresno State starting the season off with a loss? I think the positives of that, you don't have the pressure of the undefeated season. I know that's kind of a dumb way to look at it, but from here on out, I mean, there's 11 straight wins in a row that are out there for Fresno State to take. And it starts this week against Sac State at home opener. There's still a lot to prove for this team. If the offense can put together a competent game plan, score some points, defense, can they follow it up? They were really jacked up last week and had a lot of time to prepare. Now, opponent number 2, a little bit less prep time. We'll see how everything shakes out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's get the long stuff, non-football stuff out of the way right now. You can follow us on X, Beware_Bulldogs, on Instagram, Beware Bulldogs Podcast, and over on YouTube, Beware of Bulldogs. We go live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. to recap the game. You guys make sure you jump in the chat over on YouTube and X. Kilby was wild this past week. Helps going up against a top-notch opponent with the fan bases worldwide. But you guys got us to crazy numbers over on YouTube and on Spotify and all those and X, and it was unbelievable. So thank you so much for all your support. Go ahead, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications, comment down below your thoughts on Fresno State versus Sacramento State, your thoughts on Fresno State, Michigan, and moving forward. I also need to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by 2 local companies that I thoroughly enjoy. The first being Giveli Winery, or some may know it as Ziveli, Ziveli, located on the west side, way out west. Take Shaw, go west, turn north on Biola, that's make a right. Or if you're out on the west side, it's on Shaw, just north on Biola. Open Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 5. There is brick oven pizza as well out there, wine tastings. You never know. I may be out there pouring for you. So we have a good time out there at Giveli Winery. Our second sponsor for today, Manage X. Manage X. Caleb, tell us about Manage X.
Yeah, they have to be your go-to property management service in the Fresno Clovis area. Been here for 46 years. Local business, service all type of properties, single family, multifamily, commercial properties too. So if you're a landlord, you need help, you can get in contact with them. They'd be happy to help you. You can go to their website, managex.net, and get in touch there.
It's going to be a good one. Caleb, let's talk football. What do we know about Sacramento State? So if this is the first video you've seen for the week about Fresno State, Sacramento State, I want you to go back to our video we did right before this. We talked to Jason Ross. He's the play-by-play broadcaster for the Sacramento State Hornets. He talked to us all about Sacramento State. We do a get-to-know every week. He was wonderful. Caleb, tell me what you know about Sac State and what you're looking for from them this Saturday.
Well, this is a team that Fresno State can't take lightly. Pretty high expectations coming into the year with ranked, I believe, top 10, top 15 in the FCS. So big expectations for a program that historically has struggled, but over the last handful of years, they've really been able to build a pretty solid program. So definitely one Fresno State can't overlook. I think their offense should be pretty good. They put up a good showing against San Jose State last week. 24 points but against a Mountain West opponent, I think that's a pretty good showing. And I think that they also could have had a lot more. They had a lot of turnovers in that game. So that's something that we need to watch out for. See if Fresno State defense can put up a repeat performance like they did at Michigan, which I think we both expect them to, considering this opponent should be a little bit more manageable, but could be a letdown game. Big emotional first game. How is this team going to respond? I'm sure Skipper's going to have them ready, but that's certainly question marks.
Right. They played San Jose State last week, as Caleb said. They lost 42-24. They were up for most of that game, up until the fourth quarter. Then San Jose State scored 21 unanswered and put the game away. Their quarterback, their listed starting quarterback, is a dual threat guy. Bennett, I believe is his last name. He was injured. Was it Bennett?
Yeah, Caden
Bennett. He was injured in the game against San Jose State. He ended up coming back into the game. So is he going to be 100%? That's going to be a question mark. We do believe he's going to play. We also were told that Orji was going to be the guy at Michigan. So who knows? But that was week one. So Bennett injured against San Jose State, came back in the game, finished that game. I'm 99% sure he will be going against the Dogs. So we're going to see a lot of play action rolling out, scripted quarterback keepers. Caleb, with what history has taught us is that dual threat quarterbacks in Fresno have some success. It worries me a little bit, but we're going to get to our going to make you sweat segment in a second. Players on their team, Mr. Ross told us offensive line, strong point. Offense really is their strong point. They have one defensive player they're really excited about, but that is probably their weakness when it comes to the team, is being able to keep up with defensively with other teams. Because if you watch Nick Nash, he kind of went crazy. So that's what you need to know. But go back and check out that episode. Jason Ross does a great job, and he talks about it more in depth as well. And you will get to know names and numbers to watch for. Caleb, are you ready for the Gonna Make You Sweat?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do it. One thing that will make you sweat is insurance. So if you need any insurance and you have a business, I do commercial insurance. Give me a call. 559-897-5811. You can talk to me. I'll take care of your commercial insurance. Let's figure out what's going to make us sweat this Saturday.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
All right, Caleb. With an FCS team coming in, I was thinking about what should we be a little bit worried about. I mean, it was a little bit more difficult for me to think of, but I have a couple things. What are yours?
So if we looked at what Fresno State struggled at last week, which there were a couple things, but I think the most concerning aspect, if Fresno State were struggling early, it would be if they aren't able to run the ball up the middle against the Sacramento State team that shouldn't have, they definitely don't have as strong of a front seven as Michigan. If something happens where either maybe Malik Sherrod is not playing or not fully healthy again, like he was last week, a little banged up, and the Fresno State offensive line just can't get the push, that's really going to make me sweat, because they need to have some balance with this offense and be able to run and then set up the short to intermediate passing game. So I'll certainly be sweating if maybe it's a quick 3 and out at the first drive of the game, or Sac State's just able to get pressure up the middle.
Yeah, I would like to see more than 9 yards rushing. That's for sure. For me, it's actually going to be the opposite, but it's also a combination of things. And it's what the Red Wave has been talking about since the loss in Ann Arbor. One, we got to catch the ball. So if we're dropping the ball, I'm going to be a little bit nervous, because the coach needs to have confidence in the players to execute plays. I will say I will sweat if I see questionable play calls offensively. I think I think that McCann can set us up a little bit better. And, watching his interview, he did own up to all these things. And then, just execution on the wide receivers part. We got to catch the ball. We got to block the right people. And then last but not least, I would like to see Mikey not overthrow wide receivers. So whatever that takes, whatever he's got to do, we're not facing the same front seven that we were, so that he's going to have more time. But I want to see him put some zip on it, take some air off of it. Let's not overthrow or just chuck it up. Let's get it there on a dime. And deal for dimes. That was it. We want some deal for dimes for Mikey Keene.
Totally. Yeah, so, I think this should be a confidence building game for Mikey. I mean, FCS opponent who Jason Ross admitted the defense is the question mark on their side. So being able to find the weaknesses, find the guy that's open, and like you said, put some zip on it and get it to the guy in the space to make a play. So this should be a good stats game for Mikey. Get some confidence and maintain that connection with his different receivers. I know maybe expect Jalen Moss to have an even bigger game this week.
Oh yeah, baby. Okay, we have. The other thing here, the last thing that'll make me sweat is if we end up punting, I want to be able to flip the field. Lawrence has got to get more umph on it. I never want to punt. I know punters hate that, but sorry guys, but we just don't want to punt. But if we're punting, I'm sweating, and it's because we're punting and because I'm not 100% confident that we're going to be able to flip the field. All right. Kale, we're going to go to our Everybody Dance Now segment. And one thing that helps people dance, gives them a little courage, is wine. So once again, another shout out to sponsor of the episode, Givoli Winery. Something I didn't mention before in the first ad is that 99%, I don't know the exact percentage, but 40% of all percentages are made up anyways. But 99% of the grapes at Givoli Winery are grown in the valley. Don't let anyone tell you that we can't make good wine in the valley. Go to Givoli Winery, check it out, Ziveli, located on Biola, just north of Shaw. Brick oven pizza, like I said earlier, Saturday and Sundays, noon to 5. Okay, Caleb, let's
everybody dance now.
Let's talk about what's going to make us dance Saturday in former Bulldog Stadium.
Mine's pretty straightforward. It's points. If the Dogs score 60 plus, I'm dancing. I know that's may seem a little out of reach, but this is a game where this team can turn it on. I think defense should score a touchdown here, especially if Sac State's going to be as careless with the ball as they were last week, throwing a couple picks and losing 3 fumbles. So definitely an opportunity for some defense to put up some points too. So if the Dogs score 60 plus, I'm dancing.
Okay, I like it. I was going to say if we use all 6 timeouts. We didn't use any last game. None.
Expert in clock management.
I'll do it if that happens, but I'm sticking to the typical football speak that I have the past 1 week. No turnovers, because that is how you keep teams in games and you give them hope. So no turnovers. And then I'm going to hold them under double digits. 9 points and less. They're supposed to have a good offense, but I believe in this defense. I think we are legit. There's no reason that they should be able to throw us in our secondary. I am going to be watching how Braca responds from guarding Loveland, because Loveland had a great game on him. I want to see how Cam Braca responds. And I think he will. But then I also want to see who is spying Bennett. Maybe I should save this for keys to the game. But my everybody dance now. No turnovers. Mikey Keene's got to have a clean game. Like you said, bounce back game, build his confidence. And then let's hold him under double digits.
That'd be huge. I think we're the only, I guess, for thinking we're putting up 60 plus. If there's that many points on the board, we're probably looking at second and third team getting on the field. So then you run the risk of, some garbage time points for the Hornets. So it will take a full team effort to keep them under 10 points.
And that's one of the fun parts about now. If that happens, we get to see the depth, and I'd like to see our depth. I believe we have depth. I know we have depth in our front seven, but I'd like to see in other places too. Who's the next guy coming off the bench? How do they perform at home under the lights? It's gonna be fun. I hope we get there. We got to get there first. Keys to the game, Caleb, brought to us by Manage X. Go second time for today, Caleb. Tell us about Manage X.
Well, we'll keep it short and sweet. Your key to quality property management is just got to be Manage X here in Fresno or Clovis. So again, their website's managex.net. If you're a landlord and you need help, they're your key. And my first key of the game is just not have this be a letdown game, especially coming off big emotions last week, traveling to a destination stadium, a trip of a lifetime for a lot of people. Coming back home, and we got an FCS opponent that you can possibly overlook, and it's a team that can put up a lot of points. So just not letting it be a letdown game, key number one for me.
Key number one for me, being fundamentally sound. We have to do the fundamentals right against teams that you are better than, and I believe we are better than them. We have to do the small things right. Do those things right, and our athleticism and I believe our coaching staff will take us the rest of the way. So be fundamentally sound. What's your number two, Caleb?
Second one is putting an emphasis on defense, like defense scoring a touchdown. I think will help with just confidence and defensive morale too. I guess the downside of that is then defense has to go right back on the field. But I think the defense being the strongest of the three position groups, or I guess sides of the ball. I'm really looking to this position group to be the X factor in this game, and putting up some points and really keeping Sacramento State off the board, because I do think that they do have this capability. So defense, playing strong and scoring on defense.
Yeah, I think D-line is my second key to the game. Force pressure. Now, with Bennett at quarterback, we may play more contained style defense, and let Cam Lockridge get his 2 or 3 picks that we know he's gonna get sooner rather than later. But I'd like to see them create pressure just with the front four. So let's create pressure just with the front four. And then I'm going to throw in there. Do you have a third key to the game, Caleb?
Not really. So go ahead.
I want us to make Mikey confident, make him a confident quarterback before we move into Mountain West play and our next non-conference opponents. With it being at home, I would love to see them open up the playbook a little more. And we played, it was so slow and methodical because that's what we wanted. We're keeping time of possession. We're playing that game. I want us to open it up, let Mikey just let it rip, because I think that's really one of the only ways he's going to build confidence and to get better as well. So to sit in a clean pocket and deliver a nice ball, that's going to build a lot of confidence, and we know Mikey can do it. And also, we got to have help with the wide receivers catching the ball. But I want the coaching staff to tell the boys, like, go play free. Don't worry about these things that happened last week. We're not going to put you in this box so that we can keep up with the number 9 ranked team in the country. Go play your game. That's what I want. So I guess I would put it as, let's play our game and let the boys play free. That would be my last key to the game.
That sounds like a good plan.
Weather, TV, spread. What do we got, Mr. Pletz?
Yeah, first game of the year against FCS this Saturday, 7 p.m. kickoff, so a little bit earlier. Local TV, channel 47, over the air, also streaming on the Mountain West Network. So really no reason to not watch this game if you can't be there in person, because your options are free. So that's exciting. TV coverage, Scott Bemis, local TV anchor, and Marcus McMahon doing the color commentary. And obviously on the radio, the best crew, Paul, Pat, and Cam with the coverage there. So looking forward to that. And I think another thing I'm looking forward to is local TV. I don't think we're going to be having these like 3.5 minute TV timeouts. So that is certainly welcome and hopefully a little bit quicker of a game. You did mention weather. It's still going to be a hot one. I mean, Saturday we're looking at a high of 105. So the summer weather is still here. Not really an advantage over Sac State. I mean, it's hot in Sacramento, so no real edge for either team here, but possibly a little uncomfortable for the fans in the stands. But 7:00 kickoff should be cooling off a little bit.
Oh, I can't wait, man. We only get 6 of these every year. Who knows? Maybe 7. We're not going to jump to that conclusion yet. But 6 every year. And when one of them is 105, hey, it's not Fresno State football without one game where it's 5,000 degrees on that black turf, the black plastic turf under there. There is no released spread on this that I could find, Caleb. Could you find anything?
I couldn't, and that's common for an FCS matchup. Kind of tough to handicap it for some of the gambling outfits. I'm sure there's probably some line out there, but I certainly did not look hard enough to find it.
Yeah. So then that gets us to our final score prediction. What are you thinking about this game?
I think it should be a comfortable Fresno State victory. I do think that they're going to give up a couple touchdowns still, but I got the final score 44-17 victory for the Bulldogs.
Okay. 44-17. I'm going 35-13.
Okay.
Bulldogs. I think we slow down a little bit. Get Gilliam in there, get him running. And I'm curious to see if we see any backup running backs get carries with Malik not being 100%.
Yeah, I would almost hope for that. I mean, we want him to be full strength. So if there's a game where we feel confident in the guys behind him to be able to pick up the slack, I think that this has to be the game. So I'm sure, we know he's a competitor. He wants to play. But if, taking a week off from getting hit and banged around, let's do that to try to prolong his status for the rest of the season.
Right. Davis will be back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are still not sure about Josiah Freeman.
Correct. Yeah, and if we're looking at the 2 deep this week, I didn't see any change from week 1 to week 2. So, rarely do we actually see a change there unless like there's a season-ending injury or something. But should expect similar lineups from last week, and hopefully there is a good rushing performance, and whether or not that's Malik Sherrod or not. But yeah, like you said, seeing some of the reserve running backs and maybe running backs of the future have a good performance would be fun.
Let's get to, before we shout out the cities, I want to get to the rest of the Mountain West. Let's get to this Mountain West preview, the full Mountain West preview. UNLV plays Utah Tech. Caleb, no line on that. We're doing the spread on these. UNLV handled Houston. We ran through the scoreboard in the recap. UNLV should be 2-0 after this week. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no comments on that. UNLV looked really good. They should handle their business here.
A team I think is on upset alert. Wyoming plays Idaho. Idaho was in it against Oregon. A lot of question marks with Oregon now. A lot of questions being asked. Does Idaho beat Wyoming after they got destroyed in their game last week?
I'd expect for Wyoming to put up a good performance at home, but yeah, I agree. It probably is closer than they'd like it to be.
Here's a game with a spread on it. Georgia Southern, who just put up 40-some points on Boise, lost. They are playing against Nevada. Nevada held off Troy by 2. They're in Nevada, and Nevada is a 1.5-point underdog on FanDuel. Not a sponsor, by the way. So what are your thoughts on Georgia Southern going to Nevada, but Georgia Southern being a 1.5 favorite?
I think Nevada's looked better than I expected them to be. So I think that, yeah, Georgia Southern's defense did not look like they can really slow down anything. So I think I'm taking Nevada here.
There's no Ashton Jainty on Nevada side of the ball, so I'm taking Georgia Southern. But it should be a good one. I think Nevada. I'm down on them, and I have been saying that every episode, but shouldn't sleep on them. They have, they played 2 good games. We have our first Mountain West matchup, conference game. San Jose State plays Air Force. Air Force is a 6.5-point favorite in Colorado Springs. Air Force didn't play Merrimack well. San Jose State started off slow against Sac State last week. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting line. San Jose State showed that they can score, early in the season at Air Force. I think that, the cold and their stadium is probably less of a factor. So I'm kind of leaning towards San Jose State in the points here. So I think I'll go with the Spartans.
I think that it's going to be a heavy Nick Nash game once again. And I think San Jose State wins this game. Colorado State is still licking their wounds after they took a beat down. They played Texas. They play Northern Colorado. They should win this game, and hopefully they bounce back. Big game in the Mountain West, Caleb. Boise State goes to Oregon, plays the Ducks. Oregon is 18.5-point favorite. I'm taking Boise State here to cover. I don't think they win, but I wasn't impressed with Oregon. Now, numbers-wise, if you go look at the stats, Dylan Gabriel was unbelievable numbers-wise, but for some reason, they just couldn't put Idaho away, and they were on upset alert early. I do think they win. We'll see if they can stop Jainty in the offense, but I just don't think Boise's defense is good enough to stop that offense, and Oregon wins. But Boise will cover. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my lean on this is I don't think Boise's defense is any good. I think Oregon has, stronger personnel, and they're ranked 7th for a reason. So I think I'll take Oregon to cover.
Oh wow! All right.
I just enjoy picking against Boise. So
right. Oregon State heads to San Diego, take on the Aztecs. San Diego State Aztecs. Oregon State is a 5.5-point favorite on FanDuel. I'm curious to see. Neither team really played. Oregon State, I believe, did they play Portland State week 1? And San Diego State played Texas A&M Commerce. So I think this is the first true test for both teams. I'm curious. I don't know which way to go on this, and I'm staying away from the 5.5.
Well, I think there's still a lot of. Well, I guess both have new coaches, so I will take Oregon State. I think San Diego State freshman quarterback, still new system. Maybe I'll take Oregon State on the road.
I'm going to take them to win. Points wise, don't ask me. Utah State goes to the Coliseum. They play USC after USC beat LSU. Big win for them. USC is a 28.5-point favorite over the Aggies. Any luck Utah State covers here?
I don't think so. It seems like USC has kind of figured out how to play defense, which will make them much more competitive in the Big Ten. And now we can't joke about it. So, yeah, I think that USC is actually going to be a much better team this year. So, I would take USC.
I am too. Caleb, anything else on this game that you want to talk about? And then I'm going to shout out the listeners.
I think we just about covered it. Just hopefully we get a good turnout for this game. Like you said, we only get 6 of these, and I know that there are still tickets available. So if you're available, let's get out to former Bulldog Stadium and support our Dogs, because it should be a fun one and a game that the Dogs should win and hopefully put up a lot of points.
Yes. Over on YouTube, the Michigan fans were crazy. You were all wonderful. If they all tuned in to this one, I don't know. But Michigan fans, you were great. We appreciate you guys. And Caleb, I got you. I'll see you later. Okay. Caleb's got to go. Thank you, Mr. Pletz. But over on Spotify and iTunes, something we do. We just weekly, we've been shouting out where you guys are from. So once again, California, Texas, Washington, Virginia, and Oklahoma. Top 5 listening states and cities. Fresno, Clovis, Sacramento, Madera, and Kerman. No change. No change. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited. No letdown. We're not going into overtime with another FCS team. Let's put them away early and not give them any hope. Hey, for God so loved the world, he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. You can have that eternal life right now on earth. If you have any questions about Jesus or anything, feel free to message me. I'm happy to talk about it. Hey, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Dogs!